Hi guys, so as you can see, a little change up for today's show. Normally I'm driving around fighting traffic in Santon. This time I'm in my office, so apologize if it sounds like it's bouncing off the walls a little bit here. It might be a little bit hard on the audio. This is what went down this weekend though anyway. I had a pleasure of going up and actually working on the mic at the opening round of the Farm Jams for this season. They're running a whole full tour this year, I think 6 or 7 rounds of the championship. So very, very exciting to get the guys up there as well. It's been running a long time as well, Farm Jam. They had some success in the years gone by, then it went a little bit quiet. A couple of years ago I was working with Leon and Melissa as well as Rowan on their FJX tour. That also was a little bit quiet, but a very, very cool initiative. And now they're back to their full-on cross-country racing format, which definitely bore fruit. 250 riders across quads, juniors, and two-wheelers for the opening round is very nice as well. And from what I saw and the feedback that I got from the riders, everyone was pretty happy. They really graded the route. They got rid of a lot of the whoops and the rocks that were a bit of a feature of the last couple of years. And now the track is running absolute prime. So it all went down pretty good. These were the key standout rides. We'll start with the ladies' quads. Andrea Leonard, she absolutely hammered the nail, and the ladies had a good fielding for the quads as well. I think it was 10 ladies across all of the junior and senior categories. So that's really nice for us on the quad side of things. So Andrea walks away with the first blood, and she's become a little bit of a Farm Jam specialist. Going forward then into the Pro Gate, and these were the quads that opened up our racing account. Again, good entry, and two standout riders that were definitely going to be ones to watch out for, and that was Johan Oosthuizen and David Stratum. Those two guys actually came together. They knocked into each other, T-boned each other out, and actually got stuck, literally jammed up, and lost around about, I would say about 25 to 30 seconds on the rest of the field. Then they both had to plough the field and get through the traffic. Johan came through a little bit stronger than David, and he got clear air by the end of lap number 1 and ran after that. It took David around about 2 laps to get past Steph Bester, and once he did that, he was safe in second place. But of course, by that stage, Johan Too Tall was gone, and that's nice to see him bounce back from the big crash that he took a couple of weeks back at the GXCCs. So Too Tall back on the pin, David Stratum second place, and Steph Bester deciding to not race in age group category, went pro, was rewarded with it as well. Got a nice third place. On the age group category, just a quick mention there, Ted Barbier, good pal of mine from back in the day. Hasn't been racing quads for about 3 years. It's taken him that long to get over Dakar. You know, he went out and he finished Dakar. He's one of the few people in the country that's got a Dakar finisher's medal. Got it done. I think he put about maybe 4 hours prep into his quad and took the win in the Masters category. So that's very, very cool to see a rider coming back after all those years. Welcome back, Ted. I won't do what I do with the GXCCs, which is go through each and every category. Unfortunately, it just takes a little bit too long, so I want to keep these nice and punchy and to the point. On the Pro Gate for the men's bikes then, the big story was Bam Bam Rush. That's Brendan Rush riding for that big whole shot squad, the MCA guys picking him up, and he's been racing in the OR2 category. Didn't turn up with his 350 though, turned up with his 450 motocross spec bike. So that was always going to be a bit of a question mark for him, whether it was going to be dialed in for the suspension. He pulled the whole shot and he went running. He actually had the lead come the end of lap number 1. But who was on his tail? It was MV, or MW as I was calling him on the mic the whole way through, and all the Afrikaans guys just rolling their eyes at me. Eventually I got it right. MV Pretorius, brother of Low Pretorius, racing a 350, riding under the colours of Husqvarna from Vans Racing. He pulled a move and got up into second place by into first place by lap number 2. And he pulled along his little brother as well. That's Low Pretorius, the reigning 125 high school champion from GXCCs from last year. He got up into third place. Anyway, cut a long story short, it was a 5-lap race. At the end of it, the flag was taken by the 125 of Low Pretorius. And I'm making a big mention of this as well because, in my opinion, I think this is the first time in recent years, let's call it 10 years, that a 125 high schooler has taken an overall, not just on elapsed time, but also to the flag. So my hat is off. It really is. It's a very strong ride. Let me just do it as well. Hats off to Low Pretorius. He did an absolute cracker of a ride. He had the fastest lap of the day on his 125, and he took the overall flag to flag. Second place went to his brother, MV, also great standout rider. I'd love to see him come good like that at a couple of other events. Bam Bam got 4th place across the line, or actually got 3rd across the line, but on corrected time, he got 4th overall. He got 2nd in category, and he was in a dice those last 2 laps with Ludwig Janssen van Vuren from Tracks KTM. Ludwig came really good. He got a 3rd overall on corrected time, and he won the category in seniors. So that was the real big players on the senior men's motorbikes. So I mentioned that David Straden was up there. He's obviously racing for the 421 racing squad, and a couple of the key players in the 421 squad actually took the weekend out. Gideon Jacobs and Brian Herbst deciding to either spin spanners or just to put their feet up. They've got a very, very busy year. So this time around, it was up to Louis Russ and Rudolf Kruger. They were in the stable with David Straden the whole way through the weekend, and they made the big move up from WOW class into pros. Both walked away with a nice top 10 as well. That's a nice result for them. Then where the rest of the crew was up in Potchefstroom. So it was the second round of the Wildcat Racing Series, which has actually become quite a good tour as well. Definitely a way to keep yourself nice and loose for the rest of the season. Marty was up there. She hammered the nails. She took the win in the ladies category. Quintus Swanepoel actually took the win, his first win of the season in the Q1s, and he was followed home by Dierwold van Staden. So that's great to see those guys locking out the podium. Xander Branken, he took the win in the seniors gate. It was actually Gideon Reinecker who was in the lead as well. Looked like he was going to win the event, and he unfortunately crashed out and retired. But that just meant that the 421 Racing Squad were nice and busy and brought home tons of medals this weekend once again. They'll be getting themselves ready for the opening, or second round, should I say, of the GXCC's Falkville in 2 weeks' time. Okay, so that was Farm Jam and Wildcat Racing from the weekend. What else was on the page? Well, it was the second round of the EWXCs. Of course, they're all kind of grouped right in the beginning of the year, all 4 rounds before the winter freeze comes in, so Gary gets things nice and tight. Now, to win in the pro gate on this tour is almost impossible. The last couple of years, I actually literally cannot remember who won before him, because this has been the Dwayne Clenham show. Dwayno has just been absolutely phenomenal on this tour. They're sprint enduro laps, it's a lap racing format, and it's just really up his alley. He just seems to dominate. This year, he's still coming back from injuries, so there was always going to be some new blood coming in, and you'd expect that new blood to be Barnett Erasmus. He seems to be the guy who can come good. Also, Justin Flemmer. Flemmer's been very, very close to a win a couple of times on the EWXCs, but it wasn't his day, although he did make the podium. It was his teammate, the kid that decided to go 125s and go full enduro as he changed across to 125s, and that's Heinrich Aust. So that's one of the huge stories for me as well. A couple of people questioned whether it was the right move for us to just focus in on enduros. I think he's answered that, so that's going to be a very, very good booster for him. Everyone knows once you take your first win, they come a little bit easier after that. So congratulations to him. That was a fantastic ride coming out of Little Heinrich Aust to stand on top, his first ever pro win. So really, from Hollywood Hills, congrats. That's a rider coming good. Black Iron Racing, of course, coming on board. Last week we introduced all of our riders, and one of the riders we focused in on this week was Robert McAlpine. He's racing in the club category, although I can see he's going to get kicked out of this category pretty soon because he took a massive win at the second round of EWXCs. So for the Black Iron Racing squad, he stood on the top step. He was in the mix with Corny Swartz, but Corny is still trying to get him kind of figured out how things work at these events. It's his first year racing, but he did walk away with a 23rd place in the club category. And Clayton Codd, who did actually top 6 it at the opening round of the EWXCs, this time 15th place. So clearly a little bit of a story there, some issues on the bike and maybe a crash, but that held him back. But Black Iron Racing still having a good showing and a good fielding at the second round of the EWXCs. So we'll wrap this one up nice and tight as well. So what else is on the cards for March? Well, hang on to your hats, boys and girls, because this is a gnarly one. Obviously, we're coming up to this weekend. It's the 9th of March. So we already squeaked couple of races, a couple of events in on the 2nd. March is just back-to-back stacked. The 9th is the opening round of the National Off-Roads down in KZN. So it's probably going to be a similar kind of situation that we had last year, probably going to play into the hands of the crossover riders. So we saw Bradley Cox take his first ever National Off-Road win at this event last year. He's definitely going to want to do that as well, especially since he signed for the factory KTM Brother Leader Dread squad. So watch out for that. We might be getting down there for Hollywood Hills. Still hasn't been confirmed yet. Then fly forward straight into the weekend after. That's the 16th, round 2 of the GXCC series. This time, Falkville. Classic race venue. We know the area very, very well. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind it if it rained a little bit this next couple of weeks. Falkville can get real dust bowl racing. It was already dusty up in Middelburg. We're not too far away from there in Falkville as well, probably just an hour down the road. So I really wouldn't mind a little bit of extra rain. I'll take mud over dust any single day. It's a double up weekend as well. It's the GXCCs on that weekend as well as the opening round of the SACCS, which is the National Car Off-Road Tour, which I also cover, and that's up at Dahlstrom. Weekend after that is another double header. So it's the first round of the National Enduro Championship, also in KZN. So if you're a double header and you're going national off-road and national enduros, which I know a lot of riders still do, then you might as well just stay down there. You know, it's only a 2-week gap. Not that anyone can, you know. It's very tough to take time off school and off work. But that's going to be down there, and that's going to really answer our questions as to who's coming out good. At the moment, the riders that I'm kind of tagging, it does look like it's going to be the Flanny, Slater, and if Travis Teasdale can stretch his wallet and get back across here, because he's very, very busy in Europe at the moment, I think he's going to be a key player to watch out for. I very much doubt whether we're going to see too much of Wade Young this year. He seems very, very much in demand as far as the rest of the events go on the international tour. I mentioned that it was double-headed weekend from the 21st to the 23rd, hosted by the Lowveld Enduro Club. It's Gold Rush. So that's also going to trim a lot of riders that maybe wanted to go to the national as well. So it's another one of these lumpy, bumpy calendars that I'm always confused when they allow clashes like this to happen. You know, a national enduro and an extreme enduro on the same weekend. What's the thinking? Anyway, I'm not in that seat, and obviously the decision was made behind a closed door, and I don't know how they come to it. Anyway, the weekend after that, also a double header. 30th of March gives us our second round of the 424 Racing Series, another series I'm involved in, and they go down very, very well. Slightly easier version of the Farm Jams, basically, is the way you want to sum it up. Around about a 27, 28 kilometer loop, so similar kind of race distances to the Farm Jam, and a change of venue from round 1 to round 2, so much less rocks, a little bit more dirt and forest to deal with as well, and we will be getting more details on that as they come through. And then at the same time, it's the third round of the Africa Off-Road Championship as well, so that's the series that runs up in the northwest. I do cover that on commentary and social media, but it's a very, very busy series as well. So that just shows you, I think that's 7 events that are running through the racing month of March. Just shows you how much is out there. And as I've said before, racing, you truly have become a customer. You pick which one suits you, which one you like the most, and those are the races you go to. You can flip a coin at the moment. It's super busy. So back to the beginning of the show, the headliner was Farm Jam round number 1. So we end by just announcing and reminding you guys of the date. You can see the full calendar running there, but the next date on our list, the 25th of May, round number 2 for Farm Jam. I will be there. I'll be on the mic and I'll be bringing you all the wrap up once again. I will try and cover more of the categories this time, but as you can see, there were so many other events happening this weekend, had to squeeze it all in. So next weekend, obviously, I'm probably going to try and get down to the National for KZN for the off-roads, and I will definitely be bringing you back all those details. For now, signing off, and I'll come back to you next week and tell you what went down in the cane fields.